All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight at the Southgate Planning Commission meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, February 7, and I'll be calling this meeting to order at 6:31 p.m. Jimmy, can you please lead us in the flag salute?
Can you please stand and face the flag, please? Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Javier, can we get a roll call?
Commissioner Castañeda,
Present.
Commissioner Osaeta,
President.
Commissioner Valenzuela, Vice Chairperson Prieto,
Present.
and Chairperson Reese.
Present.
And let me see. I, Javier Barraza, Special Projects Coordinator, certify that a true and correct copy of the foregoing meeting agenda was properly posted on February 12th, 2026, 72 hours prior to the scheduled meeting as required by law. Pursuant to Government Code Section 54952.3, disclosure of compensation for meeting attendance by the Planning Commission is $125 per meeting.
Thank you. On to consent calendar. Did all my colleagues have a chance to review the minutes? Any changes? Or if none, can I please get a motion to approve and file?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
A second
I second.
and a roll call?
Yes.
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 The motion passes.
Great. On to public hearings. We have a conditional use permit to convert an existing building to a new non-traditional college campus in the urban neighborhood zone located at 8500 Long Beach Boulevard. John?
Yes, thank you, Chair Ruiz, members of the Planning Commission, members of the public. The item before you tonight is a conditional use permit that's being requested to convert an existing building to a new non-traditional college campus to be used as a nursing school. The property is zoned urban neighborhood, UN, and it's located at 8500 Long Beach Boulevard. We do have a presentation, so I'll wait for the presentation to come up on the screen, and then I'll go ahead and proceed with the presentation. Okay. Okay, so as I mentioned, this site is located at 8500 Long Beach Boulevard for a conditional use permit. Let's go on to the next slide, please. No. Okay. The conditional use permit is to convert an existing building to a non-traditional college campus to be used as a nursing school according to our code. The proposed use would be considered non-traditional college campus, and I'll discuss that a little bit later. The proposed property is located at 8500 Long Beach Boulevard. There are two assessor parcel numbers associated with this property. The owner is Eric El Soto of World Missions Maranatha and Evangelistic Center. Oh, sorry. There we go. Okay, great. And the applicant is Andrew Ulich. The subject property is not in any specific plan. It is zoned urban neighborhood or UN. It's not in any specific district. And the lot size is 15,400 square feet or roughly 0.35 acres. Okay. Subject property is located there on the map. It's located on the southeast corner of Long Beach Boulevard and Poplar Place. There's also Seville Avenue to the north. As you can see, the subject property, it's zoned UN, similar to properties along Long Beach Boulevard. The lot depth of the property is roughly 166 feet. The lot width is 100 feet. The street frontage along Long Beach Boulevard is roughly 121 feet, according to the assessor's map, and along Poplar Place, it's 200 feet. Surrounding land uses, to the north, you have NL, neighborhood low, and CV, There's residences and schools to the north. To the east, you have neighbored Low NL residences. And then along the south and west, across the street, across Long Beach Boulevard, you have commercial that are zoned UN, urban neighborhood. The proposal for a new nursing school is being proposed by Northwest College. They've been operating for nearly 60 years. They have programs for healthcare and professionals, and they're looking to have Southgate as one of their newest campuses. They're committed to contributing to the community, having local hiring, being partners with the community, and they also have educational access for our residents. In terms of the subject property located at 8500 Long Beach Boulevard, the property was developed in 1929 as a mortuary. In 1962, there was a garage added, which I believe is no longer there. According to our business licenses, that mortuary had operated from 1949 to 1983, but probably before then, since they developed in 1929. In 1983, there was a fire that caused some damage to the building, and an application came in the following year, which the Planning Commission approved for the church site. That's Resolution 84-36. In terms of the proposed project, the applicant is looking to convert the existing religious facility into a private, non-traditional nursing school that has a remote learning and offers hands-on lab instructions at the subject facility for up to 20 students. Per Southgate Municipal Code, Chapter 11.60.060, the proposed use is considered the college non-traditional campus, and the definition for a college land use means it's a public or private higher learning educational facility granting degrees, certificates, and academic training categorized by the following program elements. Number one, which I didn't put on there, was the traditional campus. Number two, which this use falls into the non-traditional campus, which means a college in a business/office-oriented setting that does not include any form of student housing. And it is a smaller type building, more of a vocational use where you don't have any student housing. And you only have students coming to the site when there's lab time for hands-on lab training. Most of the classes are going to be handled remotely online. In terms of the business operations, again, the program that they have is for licensed vocational nursing. It's a nursing program. They do offer other programs at their other campuses, but for this campus here in Southgate, the only one they have will be for the LVN program. The location will function as a small satellite campus. They'll be using hybrid instructional approach where, again, the instruction will be done online remotely, and they would be coming to this facility 2 or 3 times a week in order to do hands-on lab work. The number of students, they are requesting up to 20 students per cohort for their accreditation requirements, which I understand is actually lower, 1 to 15, so that they'll more likely have less than 20 students there. Again, lectures will be done remotely, and students will only be on site for scheduled hands-on lab instructions. There'll be 1 staff person or educator at the campus at a time. And in terms of expansion, according to the applicant, there are no future plans for expansion at this location. There is a second floor to this building, and that second floor will be used for storage. The plans include no structural or tenant improvements that are planned for the building. The only thing they plan on doing is having some new paint and some new carpeting. The building is pretty much designed to the way the school operates, and so there will be minimal improvements to the interior of the building. They do state that there's a need for a school. It will bring opportunities to address a critical healthcare workforce need to prepare students for entry-level nursing roles as a licensed vocational nurse. And the accreditation is through the United States Department of Education and the Bureau for Private Secondary Education. I mentioned this is a 2-story building, so the second floor will be used for storage, and those will be for materials used for the this campus and other campuses that they have. They'll be supplying books, uniforms, records, and instructional supplies. serving the multiple campuses. Their other campuses are located in West Covina, Long Beach, Anaheim, Pomona, and Riverside. And the subject property will function as a centralized support and storage point for those various campuses. In terms of the second floor access and security, that second floor is really meant for staff only. Students will be, they will not be permitted to be at the upstairs office, and they'll be formally oriented as to the building layouts. The classroom will be just at the lower level and downstairs. They'll have directional and restricted access signage within the building to let students know that they can't go upstairs. That upstairs office is to be used as a workstation for stockroom clerk, and those will be scheduled for off-peak days. We'll see over the weekends for off hours. That office use is to support the inventory coordination and material handling. And in terms of inventory tracking, that office will be used to track, log, and manage stored materials and records at the facility. In terms of site improvements and project impacts, there is a modular storage container in the parking lot that will be removed. It's been there for quite some time, and it's in the middle of the parking lot. So once that's removed, it will provide for additional parking spaces there, including Americans with Disabilities Act compliant parking stall if needed. They'll be required by building safety to make sure that there's a ADA compliant parking stall on the property. There's no negative impacts to the surrounding area due to the limited scope and staggered program scheduling. There'll also be no negative impact to the parking, traffic, or noise. It's currently functioning as a religious facility or a church, which usually draws more people to the facility. With a school there, they'll be limited to up to 20 students maximum, plus a staff member. And so it's expected that in terms of people, it'll be less than the existing use. Because the church use can have, if you have a large congregation, you may have a number of more than 20 people at that location. They are proposing an adaptive reuse of the existing building in which the interior layout already serves the needs of the school. So again, limited improvements to the interior. Those improvements would include painting and flooring, so cosmetic work. In terms of the requested conditional use permit per section 11.52.030 of the Southgate Municipal Code, before a conditional use permit may be granted, the Planning Commission needs to make certain findings that are applicable to the property. And those include A, which are consistency with the general plan, that there will not be any adverse effect to the community. B is for compatibility with any existing and future land uses to the applicable zone. And C is that the approval of the conditional use permit will not result in a detrimental impact to adjacent properties or to the character or function of the neighborhood. Those findings are included in the proposed resolution attached to the agenda bill. Some of the issues of concern, I mentioned that there is existing parking lot there. It currently provides 21 spaces. There's a container on there, and once that container is removed, they can have up to 24 spaces. So it will actually be improving the parking situation there by adding up to 3 spaces. Per our municipal code, there is a requirement that a trade and/or vocational school must have a minimum of 3 parking spaces plus 1 per student. They plan on having or enrolling up to 20 students, and so the parking space would be 23 spaces required under our code, which they will be able to provide. And they will also have to provide that ADA parking space. In terms of design and site plan review, it is an existing building, and the improvements are minimal to the interior and the exterior of the building. Site improvements include the painting and flooring inside and the removal of that container within the parking lot. They do plan on painting the exterior of the building also. And I have some photos and some elevations of that. According to the previous resolution approved back in 1984, there's a requirement that screening of the roof-mounted equipment be done to screen from street view. There is minimal visibility of any rooftop equipment up there, and staff believes that if you do provide any screening, that it would be more of an impact, more invasive and less beneficial to the site. I'll show you some pictures later on. The equipment it's up there, it's screened, and we feel that it is minimal, and that it's unnecessary for any additional screening to be placed on top of the roof. In terms of landscaping, there is landscaping in the front of the building, and there's some landscaping around the parking lot. That landscaping includes some of the trees and shrubs at the front. And once they remove that container in the parking lot, they'll be able to provide some additional landscape opportunities. And we do have a conditional of approval included in the resolution in regards to landscaping. This is the existing site plan showing the proposed building. And I don't know where my mouse is. Okay. Yeah, if you can do that, please. So this is the layout of what's there now. That's a whole presentation right there. If you go one more. Yeah, one more up there. Okay, so that's what it looks like now. Oh, I'm sorry. Go one more up. Oops. Let me take it. Yeah, let me take it. Okay, I just need to see my mouse. I don't see my mouse. Okay, that works. There we go. Okay, so this is the building right over here. You have Popular Place at the very top. You have Long Beach Boulevard on the left side of that. The front of the building is located right here at the very corner. This is the building right now, which is currently being used as a church, and they're looking to convert that into a nursing school. There is access to the parking lot from Long Beach Boulevard. There's a gate here that slides open. Actually, the way the parking stalls are oriented, this is actually the egress, and you actually come off. You enter from Popular Place this way. This is the way the angled parking is shown. Again, there's 21 parking spaces here existing, and then there's this container or storage in the back corner, which will be removed. And once that's removed, then you'll have the, now I can't change slides. Okay, yeah, so this is the next slide. So this shows the container removed from that, which they'll be able to provide 3 more parking spaces in that location. There is a trash enclosure located in that area. It can be cleaned up, and they can add some landscaping back here once that container is removed. The trash enclosure should be screened because it is pretty in close proximity to residential to the east. And if you go to the next slide. Okay, this is the floor plan. The left shows the first floor plan, the ground floor. The entrance is at the bottom there. There's a little foyer area, an office at the very front, and then you have some restrooms. This is their main room right here where the instruction will be taking place. I believe right now it's more for the congregation that's being used as a church. And they have a demonstration lab area at the very back. There's a staircase located on the north side of the building. And then once you get to the top, they're proposing storage on the second floor. So this will be all be used for storage. None of the students should be up here. They're showing a little office over there used for inventory. But the classroom instruction will be done at the ground level floor. Next slide. These are the proposed elevations. They are proposing to paint the building these colors. It's currently really a stucco building. And so it's more of a, I guess, maintenance issue. I'll show you this slide afterwards where they're showing the existing. Can you go to the next slide? Okay. So this is the existing building. The top left shows the building from the front, looking from Long Beach Boulevard. It's not too bad. It's pretty well maintained. It looks like it was painted not too long ago, but it's a darker color scheme on there. The back of the building, off of Popular Place, the rear parking lot, you see it's colored, painted the same color, and it's just all stucco. And the north of the building is this is seen from Popular Place or Seville Avenue along the street, and it's all just one color. They have some windows on there and some doors, and this is the way it's pretty much been for decades. Again, minimal improvements to the building other than color improvements to the exterior. And then next slide. And this shows the entrance. The top left shows the main entrance there, front door. The bottom shows the landscaping in front of the front door at the bottom of the pylon sign. They do have some landscaping there, and I believe some wood chips or stuff there. And there's also this wrought iron gate that kind of goes around the front to kind of creates a border between the sidewalk and the property. And then you have the pylon sign at the very front. It's currently being used for the Maranatha Christian Center, shown there. They're proposing to just leave this sign up there. It's a rather large sign. Not sure if it's all necessary for such a school such as this, but it's an existing sign there that's been permitted. And so they'll just look to change out the face. Next slide. These are just a couple of pictures of the parking lot. The top left shows behind the building where the parking lot is looking. That's seen from Long Beach Boulevard looking towards the parking lot. At the very back over there, you have the container, which is right over here. There is some landscaping put in front of that container. Once that container is removed, then they can replace that container location with some additional landscaping. I believe that might be in the ground, so they may have to take those plants out. I don't know if they'll be able to salvage them, but they can. If they can, they'll be able to relocate that. The bottom left shows that same parking lot from Long Beach Boulevard. There is some landscaping already. There's an O'Reilly building to the south. And then the bottom right kind of gives you the picture of that parking lot. And there is actually a staircase going up to the second floor that's been there probably since the building was built. You can see the trash enclosure at the very corner next to the container storage, and that will remain. And they'll have to cover that if it's not covered already, because once you have the container removed, then there's really nothing buffering the trash enclosure from the residences. Next slide. Just a couple more pictures. The very top left is looking north from Long Beach Boulevard at the subject site. I had mentioned the roof-mounted equipment at the very top, and you kind of see there's like an AC unit at the top. We just feel that it's colored, it's painted the same color as the building, and if you were to try to screen it, the screening would be more invasive than what's actually seen there. And we feel it's really minimal. The same thing at the top right, where there's some equipment at the first floor, above the first floor. It sort of sticks out here. It's harder to see, but there's some equipment there that's painted the same color as the building. And if you actually try to screen it, then that screening would be more visible than the actual equipment. So there's really no point in having additional screening there. The bottom photos show the picture of the container in that location and the trash enclosure. So again, the container will be removed, and then if it's possible to salvage the plant material and just put them along the property line, they'll be able to gain some parking spaces at that corner. And then the bottom right shows the corner along Popular Place. And there is some landscaping there already with some of those palms. Next slide. In terms of the conditional use permit, there are certain findings that the Planning Commission needs to make. And this is for the nursing school. But those findings are there, A, B, and C. Approval for the conditional use permit is consistent with the project. It's compatible for future land uses in that pool zone, and the CUP will not be detrimental to the surrounding neighborhood. Next slide. In terms of the environmental analysis, the project qualifies as a Class 32 categorical exemption pursuant to Section 15332, Class 32 infill development projects of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines. And next slide. Our recommendation is that the Planning Commission find that in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, that this project qualifies for a categorical exemption under CEQA guidelines, Section 15332, Class 32, infill development projects, and is thereby exempt from CEQA in that it is an urban use surrounding the project site, and the project meets all other requirements to qualify for a Class 32 exemption. We recommend that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2026-02, which is included in the agenda bill, which approves conditional use permit number 25-05/PL number 25-0400 for a new private non-traditional college campus located at 8500 Long Beach Boulevard. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, John. I see that the applicants are here. Would they like to come up to the podium and say a few words? Oh, if you could push the button on the microphone.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the commission, members of the public. Thank you, John, for the presentation. My name is Baylor Meza. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the college, and I welcome any questions the commission members might have regarding the project. I think John's presentation captured a lot of what we had to share with him and what we'd love to share with you. But if there are any lingering questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Should we open it up to the audience, or let's open it up to the audience first, and or any comments if we got any through email?
Are there any speakers from the audience that would like to speak?
We didn't get any email comments, but if there's any,
Yeah, you have a speaker here.
If you can come up to the podium. Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Soto. They had me as the owner there, but I'm not the owner. I'm the senior pastor for Maranatha Church. And it was my dad way back in 1984 who actually purchased it as a mortuary, and it's been use of the church now. Approximately 20-something years ago, we moved our main facility over to the city of Bellflower, and that has remained at best as we have called a campus facility. Presently, it is of my opinion that as a church, that building has served its purpose. We only use it 3 hours, if that much, once a week on Sunday. For the rest of the time, it just remains pretty much unused. And it is my opinion, I would encourage all of you to go ahead and allow this new project to actually go as planned, as it would be a benefit to the community instead of just having a nonprofit, quote unquote, just sitting there taking up space. And that's what I wanted to share. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your comment. Any other speakers in the audience? Seeing none, any comments or questions from my colleagues?
Yeah, I have a question for you said Chief of Staff or Chief of Operating Officer. First of all, thank you for attempting to bring something like this to our city. I come from I'm a healthcare worker myself for 27 years. Started as an LVN many moons ago. My question for you is this program it's certified by the California Board of Vocational Nursing, known as the BPNPT?
Yes, this program is currently a new satellite location approved by BVNPT for one cohort. Upon licensure, because of their approval, the students would be eligible to sit for the NCLEX practical nursing exam and be licensed and safe practicing nurses in the community.
Thank you for that. That's important. We have a lot of colleges that, just so that my colleagues in the audience knows, there's a lot of programs out there that claim to be California approved, board certified. And what happens is when they're going to sit for their exam, it's not certified, and they just paid X amount of money, and they cannot be certified as licensed vocational nurse. So very important, and thank you for being board certified.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
One question. How many students do you have enrolled across all your campuses?
Across all campuses currently in 3 different states, we have roughly 5,000 students enrolled system-wide. We've chosen healthcare as a niche. We have small campuses that are spread in many different locations. It's a community-based approach to offering multiple access points to communities that are underserved and don't have the same things that a lot of students in traditional education have, like their own transportation, and family support is important. There's usually a family member taking them to and from school till they graduate and can stand on their own. And we've been doing this for 60 years.
Thank you.
Daisy?
I have a couple of questions, and I don't know if this is geared towards staff or the applicant. One of my questions was, is the existing building structurally adequate for educational occupancy? They mentioned they would be having labs.
If the commission's okay, I can take that.
Sure.
Thank you. In its existing configuration, the downstairs space has an auditorium, so larger than we need, but we don't need to reconfigure it. And then there was a cafe in the back that has the right safe flooring. If you were in healthcare, you know we need the type of flooring that can be cleaned up and be disinfected. However, what we do in that space is demonstration. The Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians actually requires what we call concurrent clinical practicum in the facilities where they're practicing the student nurse skills at skilled nursing facilities, long-term acute care centers, and other healthcare facilities. Most of the curriculum is spent in those facilities with respect to skills. The rest of it is done in theory. And the third component and the smallest component that BVMPT requires is the laboratory demonstration of skills for checkoffs. And so this is what's usually done. And that's what the lab skills are used for. BVMPT also regulates that you can't have more than 15 students per instructor. With a small program, we like to give an instructor as many hours as possible, because then we have one person we can count on. So we have 3 different groups coming in a different day of the week. We will adopt that model so that we can be in accordance with the BVMPT 1:15 ratio. So we actually aren't even allowed to have all 20 students in a demonstration lab space at the same time.
Okay, another question. Thank you for that. Another question that I had was the hours. I didn't see any hours.
The hours are as follows. Most of the hours the students spend will not be on site. The students will be out in the clinical facilities, or they will be, since the pandemic, we've been doing didactic instruction via Zoom. And it's live online with an instructor that is credentialed and approved by the BVMPT. On campus, the different groups, as they progress, have to demonstrate different skills before they go to the next level of progression in their curriculum. There are 4 different specialties that our program teaches per regulation, and that would be medical surgical nursing, pediatric nursing, obstetrics and gynecologic nursing, as well as mental health. And so those, at the beginning of each of those rotations, the students have to come in and demonstrate their skills and be checked off so that when they go to the facilities, they can be safe, competent, and practicing nurses. And that's basically the model for, if you're familiar, that's basically the model for an LVN school.
So I think my question was geared like the hours of operation more
For
because
the hours?
I wanted to know if it would be at night, just
Got it.
if there would be any
Got it.
cameras or monitoring or police activity that might be needed.
Got it. This particular location will offer a daytime classes online. Skills checkoffs are usually either going to be on the weekends or in the afternoons. And they will be more than likely at the clinical sites on the weekends. It's more conducive to a working adult, and that's kind of our specialty.
And I think I saw on the presentation that the project does contribute to local workforce or jobs. Is that correct?
That is correct. We actually consulted with our nursing education consultant of the Board of Vocational Nursing and Psychiatric Technicians. And, you know, when we asked for an additional satellite location and we said we were considering the city of Southgate, she actually applauded us and confirmed our choice because she said, I'm tired of applications for Ontario and Orange County and downtown LA. And she's like, where you've chosen, we really don't have, outside of community colleges, we really don't have a program. So she was happy to give us, and she's been actually anxiously awaiting our response as to when we can start. But she is very much in favor of a Southgate location. And we're proud that we can contribute to this area because we currently don't have a presence here at all.
Thank you. I think my other question was parking, but it looks like there's only 20 students at a time, so parking might not be an issue.
That's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions to my right? No.
Sure, I'll ask one more question. You mentioned clinical facilities. What clinical facilities are you planning to partner with in the area?
We have a specific list of clinical facilities that we currently partner with. And we have, for example, in Linwood, St. Francis Medical Center is one of our community partners. We have affiliation agreements with Adventist Health, with Prime Health. A lot of hospitals now are owned by these larger corporations. And we have to go through them first. But we also like to send our students to facilities that are less, known to, people. Everybody thinks the nurse is at a hospital, and we forget that there are nurses in assisted living communities. There are nurses in assisted living facilities. There are nurses in what we call long-term acute care, nurses in what we call SNFs or skilled nursing facilities. And those are all community-based organizations that we do well with. Currently, we have had affiliations with some sites that we can't provide students to that want us to provide students, but we just don't have them in the area. So we very much send our students out not to just acute care, but also all these other community-based healthcare providers.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really happy to hear that you guys are interested in having this available to our residents and local neighboring communities. I think my colleagues asked a lot of the questions I had. One thing I wanted to get clarification was on the amount of students enrolled. I know you mentioned 20. Is it at a time? Is it in different consequential or different cohorts? Is it just one cohort of, I think you said 15 was the max that can be per cohort?
So currently, BVMT's approved us for one cohort, and we're expecting 20 students, which is fine for us. Within that cohort, we can't do anything more than 1 to 15 to train them on site.
Mm-hmm.
So we will rotate, of the 20, we will rotate them into 3 different sessions on different days of the week.
Got it.
And therefore, we will accommodate the students at the 1 to 15 ratio. And we can hire one instructor that we can give hours to, pretty much full time if they accommodate all 3 groups. And that's usually works for us, works for the instructor that we hire. We hope to hire a nurse from the community as well. And that's usually how that works for the cohort. We were approved for one. BVMPT mandates that every facility, satellite location be separately approved. So we can't just decide to, oh, let's start a nursing school, or we will run into the problems that Commissioner Castañeda was referring to, that students graduate and they don't have a license.
Got it. Thank you. If there are not any other questions or comments, can I get a motion to approve the resolution for the conditional use permit and
I'll be the first to motion to approve.
thank you. A second?
Second.
Can I get a roll call?
Yes.
Commissioner Osaeta,
Yes.
Commissioner Valenzuela,
Yes.
Chairperson Prieto,
Yes.
and Vice Chairperson Prieto, and Chairperson Ruiz.
Yes. Motion passed.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. On to open session items. We have an amendment to a site plan number 99, an amendment to one to variance number 518 to replace two existing pylon signs and to adopt a new sign theme for a shopping center located at 5710, 5720, 5740 Imperial Highway. John?
Yes. Good evening, Chair Ruiz, members of the Planning Commission. Item before you tonight is a project or a property that's been to the Planning Commission before. And so it was approved under site plan many years ago. There was also a variance that was associated with the pylon sign. And so we're bringing this to you as an amendment to those approvals. PL number 25-0060 includes those amendments. Amendment number 2 to site plan review number 99 and amendment number 1 to variance number 518. The proposed project is to replace two existing pylon signs and adopt a new sign theme or sign program for the center. Okay. Again, the project as it went before the Planning Commission before was for 5720, but there's two other properties or two other addresses associated with this property. 5740 is the El Pollo Loco, I believe. I think there's 5710, which I believe is for the, there's a little satellite building there for Metro. But the property comprises two parcel numbers. And the property owner on record is Southgate Center Associations LLC. Applicant is Patrick Farnell from National Sign and Marketing, which I believe it may be another representative. I'm sorry, Steve? Okay, so yeah, we have another representative here today from National Sign and Marketing. The property is within the specific, the Hollandale specific plan. It's zoned Hollandale Mixed Use 3 or HMU 3. It's not in any certain or special districts, and the lot size is 1.67 acres. The subject property is shown there. Again, it's two parcels combined there in the blue. Yeah, the problem with this is I can't change slides afterwards, so, okay. This is a subject property right over there, the corner of Imperial and Garfield Avenue. So it's more of a triangular shaped. And you have some industrial uses to the north. You have some residential mixed use to the east, across from Garfield, and then you have this railroad track in the back of the building. Next slide. So the proposal is to have a sign program or sign theme that controls all the signs at this shopping center. The main building is right over here, which you have a number of inline tenants. There is a pad tenant right over here, which is El Pollo Loco at the very corner of Garfield and Imperial. And then you have this little satellite building off of Imperial, which I believe is at Metro PCS building. Next slide. The the applicant came to us originally to propose to redo the existing pole signs. There's one on Imperial Highway next to the driveway entrance, and there's another one off of Garfield Avenue to the south next to the driveway. They wanted to replace those and put new pylon signs on there. We are requiring that they keep the landscaping on there, and they have a note there that landscaping is to be restored at both locations. Public Works had a concern about the sign off of Garfield Avenue, that it's too close to the street, and they required at least a 2-foot minimum there, more if necessary, if possible, in order for line of sight for people exiting the site, so they can see, I guess, northbound, looking left when they're exiting. They have better visibility. Next slide. So this is an amendment to previous decisions made by the Planning Commission. Condition number 4 of resolution number 86-64, approved in 1986, is for it's in regards to a sign program or sign theme for the total shopping center that needed to be reviewed and approved by the Planning Commission. And so it's been a number of decades. We're now at that point where we're fulfilling that condition and bringing you a sign program or sign theme. Condition B of resolution number 1991-84 is for all future construction or additions shall be subject to review and approval by the Planning Commission and determined appropriate by the Director of Community Development. So that just speaks to the point that if you're making any changes, any additions, that has to come before the Planning Commission. That's another reason why we're taking this before you. The proposed sign program and the replacement of the 2 existing pole or pylon signs are being brought back to the Planning Commission for review and consideration to comply with those conditions of approval. Next slide. So just give you a background on what a sign theme is or a sign program. Most cities call this a sign theme or actually a sign program, but here in Southgate we call them a sign theme. They're pretty much the same thing. A sign program is a coordinated program of one or more signs for an individual commercial or center, industrial center. It can provide alternative to the general sign regulations in our code, and it's intended to encourage incentives and give some latitude to achieve variety and good sign design. According to our municipal code, the approval authority for a sign program or sign theme is the Planning Commission. The sign program allows the sign area and height to exceed the sign ordinance if approved by the Planning Commission. Pursuant to Southgate Municipal Code Section 11.36.110.3B3, in reviewing a proposed sign theme, the Planning Commission may consider, but is not restricted to, certain criteria. The first being that there's a proportion to the buildings in terms of how the signs, the size of the signs are to the proportion of the building. The second being the location of the sign. So the Planning Commission consider, is the location proper? Is the sign visible? Do utility poles or lighting poles block that sign? Does the sign interfere with any traffic control signs or signals? Number 3, does the sign give an uncluttered appearance? How does it look? Is it nice design? And 4 and 5 is really mentioning that the decision of the Planning Commission is appealable to the City Council, and 5 is that the applicant or representative should be here in person when the sign program is considered. Next slide. The proposed sign program provides standards so there's consistency in appearance of all the signs within that center. The approval of any sign in that shopping center would have to go before the shopping center manager first before it comes over to the city. So if somebody wanted to go into one of the tenant spaces, they would run that by the shopping center manager first and make sure that they're okay with that before they actually come to the city to have it reviewed. The sign program gives direction to new tenants in terms of how to design, what they should be designing, how it looks. It also makes it easier for staff to approve based on the standards in the sign program. The sign program ensures that signs will have a better appearance and there's less clutter, there's less inconsistency with any signs at the center. Next slide. In terms of the pole sign or pylon signs, pole sign is defined under our code as any sign supported by a structural members with airspace between the grade level and the sign face. Pylon signs are not specifically mentioned or defined in our sign ordinance, but they are similar to a sign pole in terms of size and height. The real difference is the pylon sign often has a wider base. They're more decorative, and they're seen as more visually appealing. And most cities prohibit pole signs in favor of pylon signs. So you just can't have a typical, what they call lollipop sign, which is on a single pole on there. Most cities want to see more of a decorative type base down there with different types of material and less clutter on the sign. Just to give you some background on the existing pole signs, the pole sign along Imperial Highway was approved back in 1996 as part of site plan review number 99. And the second pole sign on Garfield Avenue was approved in 1991 as part of a variance number 518. Both signs are pretty similar in size, height, and design. And I have some examples showing you what those look like. Next slide. So the top two photos there show the existing sign. The one on the left shows the one on Imperial Highway to the north. And the one on the right shows the pole sign on Garfield Avenue. What the applicant is proposing is to replace those two existing signs. We've gone back and forth with the applicant a number of times, and what we came up with is the sign down there at the bottom. So that's considered a pylon sign where you have a wider base. We had the applicant come in and have a stone or brick veneer down at the very base there. Originally, it was pretty plain, but that provides some, better architectural enhancements, having that base there. As you can see from the very top, there's a number of tenants. I believe almost every tenant has their name on there, whereas the bottom shows 5 or 10 smaller tenants, and then the main pad tenant there, El Pollo Loco, at the very top. So there's less clutter on there. They're illuminated internally, and they're supposed to be cut out so that the letter or the name of the tenant is illuminated, and the backing is not. But the table there shows the comparison between the existing and proposed. The columns on the left are the ones for Imperial Highway, and on the right you have Garfield Avenue. The existing signs are roughly 22 feet high. The proposed signs are about 19.5 feet high. So the proposed ones are actually shorter than the existing signs. In terms of width, the one along Imperial Highway is about 9.5 feet wide, where the proposed ones are 9 feet, similar to the one along Garfield Avenue, which is also 9 feet. In terms of sign area, the proposed signs are actually smaller than the existing signs. The existing signs are both over 300 square feet, and the proposed pylon signs are 226.5 square feet for both sides. So you're getting a smaller signs in terms of the height and also the sign area. Next slide. In terms of the inline tenants, there are standards in the sign program to how big the signs can be for the inline tenants. There's also examples in terms of how the lettering can be attached to the walls. These are LED illuminated channel letters down below. So there's some consistency in terms of what those signs will look like. The very bottom right there shows the that satellite building, which I believe it's a Metro PCS building currently, and that shows the locations of where the signage can be located. Next slide. This is just more examples of what's proposed at the very top with the sign program, that you have consistent channel letters for each tenant. And down below, you'll see this is what's existing right now. There's more of a mix of signs. These signs are going to be allowed to remain since they are permitted, but when somebody else comes in there, they would have to meet the requirements of the new sign program. There are signs that we're looking to do away with, such as this right here, which is a rectangular can or cabinet sign. Those are the ones that we don't want to see. We'd rather see the individual channel letters, such as the existing ones there, which are letters directly on the face of the wall. The bottom right photo there shows the back of the wall. According to the sign program, there's signage is not permitted in that area. The back of the wall faces the railroad track in the very back, and then there's a street eventually on the other side, but there's no reason to have any signs along that back wall. Next slide. And this gives you an example of the El Pollo Loco sign. The El Pollo Loco sign was actually approved back in 2024. And my understanding is they had a sign on there which had some backing. It was approved, but then El Pollo Loco decided not to go with this sign. We have examples which shows El Pollo Loco having the channel letters that are directly on the wall. And we would actually like to see that there, where the channel letters are directly on the face of the wall and there's no background or backing on there. This actually, as it's been over a year, and my understanding is El Pollo Loco decided not to go with the sign that you see over there. So this is technically expired. Next slide. The sign program shows these signs over here, and one of the things staff's concern is they mentioned these are actually individual channel letters, and they are individual channel letters, but there's this backing in there that kind of makes it look like a can sign, and we'd rather not see that backing, that wall backing, that red in the back. We'd rather have the channel letters directly on the face of the wall. And there is a condition in there allowing the staff level to be able to make those changes to the sign program. Next slide. In terms of some of the issues of concern, I had mentioned that Public Works had a concern about line of sight with the pylon sign along Garfield Avenue. It's located pretty much in the same location, but it would be better to push that back at least 2 feet, if not more, from Garfield Avenue to give drivers better line of sight when they're exiting the property. There's also a condition that the base level needs to be replaced with the landscaping. There's already some existing landscaping over there, so once they put the new signs on there, that landscaping would have to be replaced. Next slide. There was a concern with the menu board also. El Pollo Loco had proposed an electronic message center sign or electronic sign for the menu boards at one point, and my understanding is they're no longer moving forward with that, but at some point they could come back, or a new tenant could come back and propose a menu board that's electronic. And so the sign program indicates that they would have 2 menu boards there. It could be replaced by your standard static board or electronic board. The sign program includes standards to replace those menu boards with 2 new signs, 45 square feet, each at 6'6" in height. And we actually worked with the applicant going back and forth because the existing menu boards were only 28 square feet. And so we were trying to get that back. The applicant had provided some information in regards to comparable signs for other restaurants. And those restaurants, as seen in the table there, range from about 35 to 40 feet. And some of the heights go up to almost 7'9", so over 7 feet tall. So what's proposed in the sign program is lower than that in terms of height, 6 feet 6 inches. And then in terms of size, we had requested not more than 35 originally, or maybe even 40. But they had mentioned that if El Pollo leaves and another tenant goes in there, they want that flexibility to have a larger sign in there. The commission does have the discretion to limit that size if you like, but they are again requesting the 45 square feet at 6.5 feet in order to accommodate future tenants. Next slide. And these are just some photos or examples of the menu boards. There's one when you first enter the driveway, the drive-through there, which is just shows, I guess, pictures of the some of the food available. And then the main menu board is located right over here, kind of closer to the corner, further down. There is a language in the sign program, which is stated right over there, which talks about the 45 square feet and the 6 foot 6 inches in height. And yeah, it does mention that it's either static or digital display, electronic, in case they ever want to change those menu boards out. Next slide. So in terms of the California Environmental Quality Act, we also find that this project is categorically exempt under Class 1 and Class 2. Class 1 is for existing facilities. They're looking to replace an existing pole sign there. And Class 2 is a replacement or reconstruction of structures. So we do find that it does qualify for the categorical exemption. Next slide. And our recommendation is the Planning Commission find that the project is in accordance with CEQA. It does qualify for Class 1 and Class 2 exemptions, and that the Planning Commission adopt resolution number 2026-03 approving PL 25-0060 regarding amendment number 2 to site plan review number 99 and amendment number 1 to variance number 518 to replace 2 existing pylon signs and adopt a new sign theme for a shopping center located at 5710, 5720, and 5740 Imperial Highway. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Will the applicant like to say a few words? If you could please come up to the podium and state your name.
Certainly. My name is Steve Rosenblum. I'm with National Sign and Marketing Corporation. And of course, we represent the shopping center owner. And first of all, thank you for allowing me to be here. And hopefully we can answer any questions you might have. I think I've done a lot. We'll just go with a lot of these hearings. And John, you probably provided one of the most complete synopsis I've ever seen.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
but we're happy to answer any questions. A couple things I'd add is regarding the line of sight. One of the key things we're planning to do is reuse the existing structural support, which is a giant pipe in the middle of the sign, and we'll just off-center it. But we're more refurbishing or replacing the outward appearance, but the structure is going to remain. So we're somewhat limited in what changes we can make to the sign itself, or the position of the sign itself. So as long as it fits within that planner, we can make it work. And then we talked in great depth regarding the menu boards. John and I have gone back and forth quite a bit. And our purpose for a sign program like this is to make the city's job easier later on. When a tenant comes in and understands, hey, here's the rules for it. So we think that setting up a restriction of 45 square feet will make the city's job easier. If that doesn't work out, no problem. You know, we're not concerned. The current tenant has their menu board, but we're just looking to provide a tool for the future that the sign program lasts a long time and really represents what the city's desires are. And at that, happy to answer any questions.
I do have a question, if I can. I kind of mentioned with the El Pollo Loco, because I had gone back and forth with, I believe it's Pat and Joan from your office about a number of issues with the sign program, and one being with the El Pollo Loco, because it was approved before in the past, and we had a concern with the backing in there, and wanted to make sure that you're okay with having that backing removed and having the channel letters directly onto the face.
So because I'm representing the landlord, I really can't tell you what El Pollo Loco's preferences are. But what I can tell you is you're running into challenges with trademarks, because I know that El Pollo Loco's current branding is being trademarked to have that background, or it may already be trademarked to have that background as part of their image. So
Yeah,
that would be a concern.
one of the photos I showed was a example of a channel letters that were directly onto the face. And so we know that it can be done without the backing.
Now, the backing is a very new thing. It's only been ongoing for a short time. So you might have been looking at an older restaurant. Again, I'm not the person to answer that specifically, but again, I'm a signage expert, and I know that trademark signage is actually protected by law. So that would be something to address with the El Pollo Loco sign permit, not necessarily the sign program.
Great. Seeing nobody in the audience, right? Okay, we can go with the written comment, please.
So let me try to find it. We had to summarize it using AI because one of the comments was a little too long. So we felt it would only be fair that everybody's comment was summarized. So let me find that. He said, it says, Mario Dominguez Jr. urged the commissioners to limit restaurant drive-through menu boards to 40 square feet each instead of the requested 45 square feet, arguing that the smaller size should be the city standard. He stated that 40 square feet per board, 80 square feet total for 2 boards is sufficient to display menu items and would reduce marketing clutter, keeping drive-through signage clear, clean, and simple.
Thank you. Any comments or questions from my colleagues?
Sure, I have a quick question. I don't know if this is for staff or for the applicant. How many commercial locations are on site? I wasn't able to see that on the report. But maybe the reason I asked that, I preface that because when you look at pylon 1 and 2, which are the existing pylons, they have about 14. On one of them, there's 14 different establishments, and on the second one, there's 17. And then the proposed signage only has 11. So how will you determine who makes the cut on the pylon?
So that's, of course, many shopping centers. It's a very common occurrence for, there's shopping centers that have 50 tenants and 10 spaces. So it's generally, and I can't speak for the client how they're going to conduct their business, but it's based upon lease. Sometimes they'll lease the panels. Sometimes it's negotiated in the lease that you are entitled to X, but again, it's all governed in the leasing documents.
And based off of your experience as an expert in signage, will the future signage be assigned to one tenant per box, or will it take up 2 boxes? Because right now the current pylon has tenants taking up 2. It varies, right? So I think your program would probably help provide guidance around that.
Absolutely. So the goal with this design was to set it up with 3 different tiers. Obviously, El Pollo Loco being the anchor tenant for the center. Then if you look, the top 4 are slightly larger, and those are for the larger tenants or more senior tenants. And then the bottom 6 are a little bit smaller yet. So it's really kind of a staged approach. The whole thought behind this thing was the owner looked at the signs that are out there, and they're outdated. And they just really wanted to make an effort. It's a great location. They thought it's time to clean up the signs, and that kind of started this whole process.
Thank you very much.
Certainly.
Just to answer your question, according to the sign plan, there's 14 inline tenants in there. So as the applicant had mentioned, they would have to decide, and it will be based on the lease, who gets to put their name on the sign.
Thank you, John.
Commissioner Prieto or Valenzuela, any questions?
No, I just wanted to thank you for it. I have driven through there a lot and it can be very confusing. So this is very helpful to see. Thank you.
Commissioner Prieto?
Yes, I think my question is just regarding the lighting. I had a question as far as the driver distraction, or is there like animation or any flashing on the lighting?
Not at all. It's all internally illuminated with LED energy efficient lighting, and only the graphics will light up and they won't change.
And another question I had was, who's responsible for the upkeep? Like if the lights go out, or
That would be the ownership.
the owners? Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And yeah, this is a great design. I think it's pretty cohesive with what, is going on in the shopping center. It's a very busy intersection, like you said. I feel like I'm stuck in traffic there a lot. So I think it's definitely going to get a lot of attention, especially once it changes. I think people are going to notice. And, I mean, I guess every business needs more business, but that place is pretty busy. So I'm really happy to see this. Yeah, I think my only concern was really the line of sight coming in and out. I'm trying to remember whether or not I had issues. I know drivers are kind of crazy all over the city, but at the same time, I see the how effective it would be to kind of try and reuse whatever's already there, just to make it easier on the applicant. But if any of my colleagues have any proposed amendments, and if none, if I can get a motion to approve.
All right, one quick question. I was looking at the document and it references 3 lots, 5710, 5720, and 5740. Is it 3 lots or 2 lots?
So my understanding in terms of the lots, there's 2 lots there, 2 different APNs, but one of the lots, I guess, has 2 addresses on there.
Okay.
And yeah, my understanding, I guess that Metro building has a separate address.
Okay. No,
So-
sorry. I thought I missed something. Thank you, John.
All right, seeing no other comments, if I can get
Um,
a motion to.
I'm sorry, before you have the motion, if I could just make one understatement. There is a condition in there for condition number 12 on page 56, and it allows the community development director or his or her designee to make minor modifications to the approved preliminary plans on the conditions. A lot of times these go forward, and rather than having it brought back before the planning commission, if there's anything minor, that condition allows changes to be made at the staff level. We had mentioned that issue with the backing for the El Pollo Loco. The applicant had mentioned that it's trademarked and there's certain rules that you can't, touch because, it's like,
Hands are
telling them they need to use a certain font or certain color, that cities aren't allowed to use. And I guess if we can have that information from the applicant and they can show that it is truly trademarked and we can't really do anything, then, I think we'd be okay. Otherwise, again, it would be our preference to have that backing removed if there's no proof that, we can't do it. I
So
don't know
you're-
if our attorney would like to chime in on that in terms of.
Yeah, again, that may be more an issue for the specific sign permit itself rather than the sign program. But, John's right. We very, very, very frequently in not only in sign permits, but in conditional use permits themselves, grant the community development director the right to make minor alterations to the conditions. So I think having that now is just continuing a history of that sort of proactive condition that has been put in here, and that would allow John to exercise that discretion as if there's an argument over whether or not the backing has to be permitted, whether it's part of a registered trademark or a copywritten trademark. But at least leaving that in there lets gives the city and John some flexibility to make that decision on a case-by-case basis rather than something that's necessarily set in stone.
Great. So you're not changing the resolution, right? You're just highlighting it.
You're right, correct.
So Greg, under your explanation, would it make sense for condition number 12 to include that stipulation around navigating that specific signage in regards to El Pollo Loco? Because it doesn't go into detail on,
Well,
You know,
I wouldn't call out El Pollo Loco.
okay, but that particular signage in question.
What's the number?
It's
So- 12.
Page 56, condition 12.
Hate practicing law on my phone, but okay, condition 12.
It's a standard
Oh,
condition.
yeah, there we go. Yeah, yeah.
'Cause I know we have conditions like this for other projects as well.
You know, I think this covers it because it talks about changes to approved preliminary plans, and that would be in connection with individual sign permits rather than the sign program.
Okay, thank you.
And it would just be a question whether this is a minor or major modification. And it's-
Well, I mean, I suppose it would depend on
Your perspective.
the size of the sign. I mean,
According
and
to John, it's a big thing.
yeah, well, you know, I think again, it would be in John's discretion. John always has the ability to punt to the commission. So if he looks at it and he is not convinced that it's minor and thinks maybe that it's major, then I think that that would be a condition when he would put the problem back in your guys' laps and let you make the decision. And if he was, you know, of the opinion that it really was minor, then he could do it the way the wording is written here, so that he doesn't have to come to you with every single application, just those that are pushing the envelope a little bit.
And I believe you said that the question too was just the way it was encased, right? It wasn't really it was more like the backing, not
Yeah.
necessarily a boxed.
Yeah, we're looking to get a higher level design here, and our concern is that with the backing there, it makes it look more like a cabinet sign, which we're trying to do away with. And we feel that it would be better if the channel letters were just directly onto the wall rather than having that backing there.
Got it. Do any of my colleagues have any recommendations or?
So John, is that a major or a minor modification?
That would be something that, you know, we would do at staff level, so it'd be minor.
Any other questions or comments?
What it would be on the plan was basically just removing that red backing that you saw there.
Got it. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution and the CEQA exemption?
Sure, I'll motion.
A second?
I'll second.
Can I get a roll call?
Commissioner Castañeda,
Yes.
Commissioner Osaeta,
Yes.
Commissioner Valenzuela,
Yes.
Vice Chairperson Prieto,
Yes.
and Chairperson Reese.
Yes.
The motion passes.
Thank you. Great. On to item number 10, comments. Seeing that there are no audience comments, any written comments?
There's some email comments, like I mentioned before, that were summarized by AI. And let me just find them here. So the first comment says, Osvaldo Pichardo formally expresses concern about the conduct of Commissioner Reese, stating that her laughter during council meetings while members are speaking in dismissive, unprofessional, and give me a second, sorry. Stating that her laughter during council meetings while members are speaking is dismissive, unprofessional, and undermines the seriousness of the proceedings. He urged her to uphold the decorum and attentiveness expected of her position and to set a respectful example for the community. Then we had a second comment. from Mario Dominguez Jr. requested an update on whether the city will proceed with a fee study and adopt a Quimby fee ordinance to fund park projects, noting that neighboring cities have already implemented similar measures and criticizing Southgate for falling behind on revenue initiatives such as the utility users tax. He also expressed opposition to City Manager Rob Houston's conference travel, arguing that it was an unnecessary expense during a financial crisis and reflecting the misplaced budget priorities that favor City Hall staff over residents. Should we read it one at a time? And we're not going to comment or answer any of this, right?
No, they're not ready to be answered. They're ready to provide information to the commissioners.
So just read all three and then,
Yeah, just
Okay.
read all three. If the commissioners have questions, they can ask. Otherwise, it's just read into the record.
the third one says Claudia Rivera, a longtime resident of Southgate, urges the Planning Commission to place the utility users tax on the ballot so that the community can vote on it rather than allowing a few council members to decide on service and program cuts amid the city's financial difficulties. She also criticizes a planning commissioner appointed by Al Rios for making inappropriate remarks at council meetings and alleges that he and a park commissioner are unfairly targeting certain council members instead of offering constructive solutions. That's it.
Thank you. Any comments regarding any of those questions and comments? No. On to city staff comments.
Yeah, I just wanted to report that just to let the planning commission know that you should be receiving your 1099 if you haven't received it already. And that's only if you made more than $600 for the year for 2025. Some of you are newer, so it may be under that 600 threshold, so you may not be receiving a 1099. And also, I think the last quarter you were paid recently in 2026, so that doesn't count towards your 2025 income. It will count towards your next one for this year. But again, if you did make more than $600 on the commission, then you will be receiving the 1099. That's all.
Council, any comments or questions? No? Director, I see you in the audience.
Yes, this is really important. Something that the city's been working on for quite some time. Tomorrow night we have an open house for the Gateway District. That's going to be over at the Civic Center across the way from City Hall, and it will start at 6:30 to 8:30. The commission and the public are welcome to come and show up for that. What we're doing is we started working on the Gateway District plan back in, I guess I want to say 2015, 2016 or so, and it came to the city council around 2019, but it was never adopted. So it went through the whole process and everything, but rather than adopting it, it kind of just got shelved over. Council directed staff to have an inclusionary housing ordinance, which we adopted in 2022. And then since then, we've also adopted our housing element. We've amended that. And so now we're looking to proceed and get the Gateway District specific plan back on track. We've been meeting with a number of stakeholders pretty much every week about with the owners affected with this Gateway District. And tomorrow night will be an open house to the public, so we can present the what was done in the past. We can get some ideas from the public in terms of where we want to go with this district. And so we encourage the planning commissioners and anybody from the public to attend that tomorrow night. Again, that's going to be at the Civic Center on California Avenue across the street from City Hall. And it will start at 6:30 and go to 8:30.
Thank you. On to commission comments.
I wanted to make a comment. And I'll just make this, when someone sends an email, turns in an email with comments, we welcome that, right? That's the freedom of speech, freedom to write and expression. But for a specific commissioner to be targeted in an email like that, for the same right of freedom and expression. And I think that's more of an individual perception of how that person in the audience is acting. And I just wanted to just put it out there that we have to respect the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, but we also have to take in consideration that it can also be perception of an individual. Just wanted to make that comment, place it out there.
Thank you. Any other comments from my colleagues?
I just want to thank staff for the presentations. Great work. A lot of information provided today, so thank you for that. And then also, just wanted to share that I am a member of the Southgate Kiwanis Club, and we do have a community cleanup on Saturday, February 21st at the Legacy Complex here on, what is it, Atlantic and Tweedy? Tweedy? Yeah, it's from 9 to 10:30, and we'll be cleaning up around the community. So I welcome staff, members of the community, and my colleagues to come and join. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Any other comments?
I had a quick
Commissioner Zep-
question to staff. The meeting that's scheduled for tomorrow, just given our rules and some of that might come to the commission in the future, like, are we able to attend just to listen or to pose questions, or what is your guidance or legal counsel on that?
Yeah, as long as you don't join and gather together and meet as a quorum, if all 5 of you show up to the open house tomorrow, just be wary of where you are. Make sure that you're not congregating, all together.
Yeah, just if you're not making coordinated comments, that's a good thing. You are free to voice your opinion. Yes, it is going to come before you, but you also are members of the community, and I would encourage you to go to get the information. If you feel very strongly and want to make a public comment about it, you're free to do that, but it may be better to just receive the information and maybe ask somebody privately later on.
Thank you. Thanks for the great presentations today. Thank you.
Commissioner Valenzuela?
No, just to thank you. This is very helpful. Sorry, I apologize for coming late, traffic from work, but this was very helpful to see.
Yeah, and I forgot to ask to make sure that the minutes reflect Commissioner Valenzuela's attendance. That the minutes reflect Commissioner Valenzuela's arrival.
Yeah, I put that share right at 6:37.
Sweet, thank you. Yeah, and thank you for joining us, and just thank you for all the work you put in. The applicants even noted just how thorough the presentations were, and they always are up to the caliber. And so I think I can say safely that we're all very grateful for that. And before I adjourn this meeting, I just want to say that and remind my colleagues that as commissioners, we're here to represent our city and to advise council, whose primary duty is to ensure that the city has the resources it needs to provide its residents the services we all need for the city to function and grow. I want to read the vision statement because I think it's something that we should all keep in mind. And our vision statement has said that we envision a thriving, safe, and inclusive community where everybody has the opportunity to access exceptional services, education, and support to be resilient and live full, vibrant lives. And I say this because I think it's something that we need to keep in mind when we conduct ourselves, especially, having received the comments we received. And I want to encourage everybody to, with whatever influence we have, to keep the aforementioned in mind when we conduct ourselves, especially in public. Many of us here have invested our lives to the city in whichever way we have been able to. That's why we're here representing our community. And, just to keep that work going so that we can make this a better city for our future generations. And I want to thank everybody again for all your hard work, and thank you for coming here and providing all your expertise and all your thoughts. And if there's no other comments, I'll adjourn the meeting at 8 p.m. Thank you.